Good morning and welcome to Kramer's Corner with a daily technical update. It is Thursday the 21st of March, the day after FOMC meeting and Fed announcement that's fueled the rally higher in S&P 500, cancelling this bearish engulfing here, moving higher. And if we have a quick look at the weekly chart, we can see where we potentially could move to next. Just around 5,300, that is 618 of the bottom to top here in this cup and handle formation. So there it seems to be further upside potential for S&P 500. No divergence on the weekly chart, but there's massive divergence here on the RSI on the daily chart. So still quite stretched, but again, the trend is your friend. And if we can break above this falling trend line here on the RSI on the daily, well, then there is potentially more upside for S&P 500. Also, Dow Jones canceled its top reversal pattern, and there is a really strong uptrend here. Again, confirmed, hold the support here at 38,457. So it seems like it's the you can say old sectors were running it. It was miners, it was banks especially, it was some of the big techs, but it wasn't semiconductors. And let's just have a look at what happened on the Nasdaq 100 index. Yes, it moved higher, but the bearish engulfing top and reversal pattern is still intact. It needs to close above 18,417 to cancel that. So let's see the next couple of days if we can actually do that. What was interesting here, and really worth to note, is that the 17,808 support were tested twice and hold. So it could be an indication we will move higher. We are a little bit wiser later today when we have Micron Electronics coming out. They came out with earnings yesterday, and it was trading a significant higher in the aftermarket. So that could potentially lift the semiconductors. And here the SOX index, or the SOX Semiconductor ETF, the top reversal pattern is massively still in place. It will take a bit to cancel it, but it is still in place for this. But there's not really a downtrend confirmed other than just a correction for now. And if we look at Nvidia very quickly, we can see that it's more or less mirrors the ETF, the semiconductor ETF. We are still above the gap here, and that is the really key level to observe. But yes, we have the bearish engulfing. It could be cancelled, but look out for this gap area here the next few days. In Europe, it was lifted with the rest of the market, or US lifted it higher. So we actually have now Eurostoxx much higher here this morning, back above the rising trend line. It has surpassed the 200% of this correction here. I don't really have short-term a target. We are very extreme here on the weekly, but there's no divergence, there's no imbalance, so we could see higher highs. And if we can get the daily RSI above this dotted line here, dashed line, well, then the divergence also cancel there. DAX also higher, and there should now be room up to 18,427 around that level, which is 200% of this correction there. Very close to cancel its divergence on the daily chart. So it could tell us a little bit about that there are potentially higher levels for the DAX. Also AX at the moment trading higher, gapping higher. If it can close the RSI above the falling trend line, and especially above 60, well, then there should be potential higher levels for AEX, and 878, which we have had as a target for quite some time, is still intact. The CAC index opened higher, as we can see, but it's sliding a little bit towards the end, or not towards the end, we don't know yet, but at the moment here, after a couple of hours trading, if it takes out the lows from yesterday, well, then we could see a sell-off down to at least test the rising trend line here. So a little bit to the weaker side for CAC, despite opening higher. So we are actually now trading lower. Finally, on the Swiss market, pushing higher towards 11,800. If it can get about above 11,808, well, then there we are looking at 12,000 and also potentially higher. Euro dollar, after testing twice the 50% retracement of this upwards move here at 108.38, it bounced higher yesterday, back above all moving averages, and now also the 55 is very close to moving around. So underlying bullish sentiment and trend, positive sentiment, we should see euro dollar trading higher and test this 109.70 resistance area, but it can take some time. It will be a little bit of a struggle, I would say. We have the 100 moving as flat, so there's still something still dragging it a little bit. If we look at EURUSD, something is cooking. EURUSD shooting higher this morning after breaking this a couple of weeks ago, breaking this falling trend line here, testing the 100 weekly moving average. We are back above the 60 threshold on the weekly RSI, and the daily charts, as we can see, also pushing higher above this resistance that has been that was very strong, just below 97. We have now room up to just around the 98.5, potentially higher. Short term, medium term, we could be eyeing par again, but that's going to be interesting in the next couple of days, next couple of weeks, I will say. Cable, also quite a bit of volatility. Let's zoom in a little bit. Bouncing off the 61.8 retracement and back up to that 68 retracement of this downtrend there. So a little bit of a setback, but I think we will move higher. We can see RSI is in a positive sentiment. There's no divergence. If we can get back up 60, well, I think we will take out the 129 level and then move higher. Dollar yen almost touched the 2022 peak, just below 152, but couldn't really get past it and couldn't really test it properly. I expect we will see a little bit of volatility, a little bit of a setback down to around 150 maybe. We were very close this morning before we will have another go. The underlying sentiment, underlying trend is bullish, but it was stretched a little bit. So I think we'll see here the next couple of days a little bit of range-bound activity. Euro yen reached and surpassed a little bit the 138.2 projection at 165. We are in an uptrend. It is a little bit stressed at the moment. We do have some let's see here, we do have some RSI divergence. You can see it's tilting a little bit lower, but if we can move higher here in the next couple of days, well, then there's room up to 166 or 168. Aussie yen also shooting higher above the 138.2. Also above 100, but now back below. I would expect a little bit of a setback next few days before next move up towards 100, spot 70, possibly 101. Sterling yen reached the 161.8 at 193.40. All these levels, they were mentioned in my latest yen pairs update. Check it out. I'm not going to do another one just yet, maybe early next week. Expect a little bit of setback in the next couple of days, but then I think we'll see another push higher. But there is a slight divergence there on the RSI, so we are stretched a little bit on this uptrend there. Aussie dollar, well, it couldn't really get above this grip here and above the resistance just below 66. I will actually move that one up to around up around this level here, just around 60, 66.5. Are we forming a little bit of an ascending triangle or slowly higher trend here? If we can get back above the cloud, well, then expect some further upside potential. Finally, let's have a look at dollar Swiss, that yesterday actually closed below the 61.8 at 89, but now this morning really pushing through, and I expect to see it test the 786 retracement at 90.5 in a couple of days' time. Bullish also on the RSI. Finally, on the dollar index, a lot of volatility. Almost reached the 61.8 retracement at 103.89. I will remove that one because now it's just making some noise. Expect I would expect the dollar index to be range bound between 102.60 and 103.90, around that level here for the next few days. However, we do have the RSI being in a negative sentiment, so a little bit to the downside. We also have the 100 moving, 21 days moving, and the 200 moving average all declining, the 200 slightly, but the 55 still holding up a little bit, but I think we will slowly moving around. Gold shoot higher. Yesterday we didn't get the correction all the way down to 21.34 as I expected. There was potential down to 21.15, but we didn't get that after and the announcement yesterday. Gold shoot higher, continued this morning, almost reached in 161.8 of this little correction here at 22.25, and also almost reached 22.33. I think we will do that in the coming days and weeks. I think we will move higher, and if we look at the weekly, we'll see there's still room up to the 161.8 here of this larger correction we saw a few months ago. Here on the silver, 26 is the key resistance, and it is likely we will test that. I would say a couple of days, maybe. Time-wise, it's always difficult. 26 and a half. There are some really strong resistance around that level where we could see some correction. On the copper markets, still struggling a little bit, trading at 409. Can't really get up to the 420, 423, where there's some strong resistance here, but we are in an uptrend, and I think eventually we will move up there. What is struggling a little bit is the crude oil. After a really strong breakout here, we have seen a little bit of setback, and that's not unusual. Sometimes we see that after a breakout where it actually will test the former resistance, now support from the upper side here, 79, 77. We could see a test of that, but the underlying trend is up. Higher highs, higher lows, positive RSI supporting that. And the same picture here on Brent that got rejected at 87.35 resistance. We could see a test of 84.75. I'm not quite sure we'll get it, but we could see a test, and then we could bounce off and then move higher. I'm fairly positive or bullish on the crude oil market. Finally, on the US Treasury yield, and let's zoom in a little bit. Sorry about that. I think we should zoom in a little bit. Got rejected just below 435. I think we will see it being stuck and range bound here between 415 and 435 for actually quite some time. You can see we have the 100 moving average coming down. We have the 55 coming up, 200 coming up, and then the 21 a little bit lower. So there's some conflict between the underlying short to medium and a little bit longer term trends here, and that can lock in the yields, with a positive undertone where we have the RSI actually in a bullish undertone, a positive undertone. So I think we will see a little bit of bounce after possibly dipping below 420 and then have another go at the 435. All right, that's all for today. A little bit long one today, I know, but a lot to talk about. Have a nice day and happy trading. Talk to you again tomorrow.